season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
So make it stop.
Countdown. If you're watching us live on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, we have a 30-second countdown clock. I thought somebody recalibrated it to like 30 minutes. It seemed like it took forever.
Mm-hmm.
One little thing throws me off. And I'm that fat kid trying to learn to ride a bike, and you hit one pebble, they start wobbling, and then you hit the ditch.
Everything's over. It's just like you dropped your pop, your slushie went this way. Everything in your basket fell out because Pat did have a basket.
I did have a basket, a banana seat, and not a slushie. I had an Oreo cookie blizzard. Hence the fact I was 212 and 5'2".
Can't beat Oreo cookie blizzards forever. I'm not kidding you. That is always my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
M&Ms are okay. Oreo cookies all the way.
All day long Oreo cookies.
All right. So Facebook Friday. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate it. Love to hear from you guys. Of course, John Carroll, as per the usual.
Hi, Johnny.
Sitting out at the farm. Good morning, Liz. Also, hello, guys. Just checking the comments. If you guys don't YouTube forget also to check the comments because sometimes they pertain to you.
I sometimes forget about the comments.
Sometimes you do. Don't forget about these.
I do.
And then special guest today that was going to join us. He's going to join us for a short time here. We've got hello. How are you doing?
I don't know about special.
Well, you're special.
Just a guess.
That's the rumor.
I'm hearing echoey too. Somebody's echoing. I don't know who's echoing, but somebody's echoing.
I'm going to say it's the new guy.
He's got
come on, Pat.
He's got headphones on though. I don't know.
I hear the echo too.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's weird. Let
me break down my iRig here.
I love we always do our live tech run throughs. If it's working fine before we go live, then we go live, and then again another wobble, and there's the fat kid in the ditch again.
Yes.
Yep. So Andrew Rogers, he's been on with us before, but from Hurrdat Sports, and him and Anna and the whole Hurrdat Sports team have been out at the Pinnacle Bank Championship.
Actually, the whole Hurrdat team has been out.
The
whole,
Joe was there too.
The umbrella of all the Hurrdat teams.
Well, the only person I didn't see was Pat.
Right. I wore my shirt today though, so I could Matt right there, so I could go out there.
So you could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can schmooze it up in the chalet.
Yeah.
No, that was legit, man. That was fun.
Was it cool? I didn't get to go into the one on 18.
I went to all of them. I made the round.
I don't have that seniority status like you.
I stole somebody's lanyard.
How many chalets do they have?
Tons.
There's like 4 or 5. Not but they're just like 4 or 5 hospitality tents for the Pinnacle Bank Championship that's going on at Indian Creek. And so around 17 and 18 is where you're going to find all the people walking around with White Claws. Not me. I was ranch water the whole way. Anyway,
what's ranch water? Vodka?
Tequila.
Oh,
it's Hidden Valley and water.
It's tequila and fizzy water. Tequila and fizzy water and a lime
with a splash of tequila.
Maybe a splash.
So Andrew, how's the tournament? Everything going? Day one go well?
Day one went really well, and it wasn't as hot as I think a lot of people predicted, so that was really nice. Although we did hear some murmurs from some of the golfers, like, ooh, the conditions weren't as ideal as they probably wanted them to be. But for the most part, they didn't seem to be overly affected by those. But outside of that, the volunteers were amazing when we were out there, and it's just an overload of volunteers. So thank goodness for them, because that event could not run without them. The staff, the Pinnacle Bank staff and the Corn Ferry Tour staff did an awesome job day one, helping us kind of navigate to get players, get set up, find our location to podcast, and really just did a good job of explaining everything to fans and to media.
Now I'm going to guess you didn't have to park down at 204th and Dodge.
No, I got Lotto. I got the media parking. And I may abuse that today when I go back as a fan.
I may try. I don't know.
You can just carpool with me.
I'm just but I will say this. Spectator parking is at 204th and Dodge, which is at the community college, and there's signs everywhere. And so it directs you back to this big parking lot, and they have 100 buses. There's
School
school
buses,
buses,
right? Yeah.
So boy, take you back. And so
Is somebody gonna spit on me and give me an atomic wedgie again?
just be careful where you sit.
No, I
Pat.
already wrote your phone number though on the back of one of the chairs.
A good time. Page
But-
that.
It's really pretty quick. I mean, it's like they'll take whatever, a crew of people that are all walking together, and then they take off. The next bus pulls up, load them up, take off, go. It's a pretty quick turnaround, and they drop you down at the bottom of the hill right at the gate at Indian Creek, and so it's easy. So, and then same thing coming back. It was a piece of cake. So do not fear if you're like, oh my God, I want to park that far away. It's pretty easy.
And I know, Andrew, we had you in here for another reason too, not just talk about that, but you had another story of something happened earlier in the week. But hold on to that for a second.
Okay.
Because this morning when he came in to pick up some equipment, what did you and your girlfriend do last night?
We went and played sand volleyball for the first time in a long time. And it was at a bar over in Ralston called Winchester's. If that's familiar to the Omaha crowd. I'm still fairly new to the area, so I had to use Google Maps to get there. And our feet today are so exfoliated. Like you would think if I went to a masseuse today, she'd be like, wow, you take really good care of your feet. And no, it's just I go to a bar that has rocky sand and sunflower seeds spewing up that could potentially puncture. And it was a blast. It really was fun. But after game one, I was like, okay, I think we're only playing you play two, you win, and you play another team. So we were there for back-to-back games or matches, I should say. And when we played the first one, though, I got done and I looked at Ashley and I'm like, oh my gosh, my feet are killing me. She's like, oh my gosh, my feet are too. And we looked at the bottom of our feet and they just looked destroyed and also really dirty because, dirty sand is different than going to like Aruba and stepping on sand there. And not that I've been to Aruba, but I can imagine that.
You've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
you've seen the pictures.
But even today, I told Pat, I'm like, my feet look smooth, but they also look like my grandma's face.
I didn't know what that really meant, but
what does that mean? Is it
just like really
hairy and
wrinkly?
Wrinkly?
Oh my! Are they pruned up or what's the deal?
No,
I don't want to see them, so don't put that camera down
Sorry, my computer's
Just-
going all over the place. There are some battle scars. I won't show them off. I mean,
Okay.
You guys filled
That's
in
on a
for-
different site.
You were subbing for some friends of yours. And at what age do people like? I remember being your age and be like, "Oh my god, I'll sub for softball and bowling and this."
Oh, yeah.
At what age do you start making excuses for not being able to sub for people on things?
That's interesting because I thought about doing that yesterday because I was working all day at the PBC. I was on my feet all day at the Pinnacle Bank Championship, and I was like, "But we really like sand volleyball." I don't know if I'll ever stop.
I still have an echo,
subbing
you guys.
in.
I'm just gonna stop you just for a real quick second. Just do you hear the echo?
I do. Yeah, it started again. I
It
don't know
started
why.
back up again. It's like it's a little distracting. I'm just gonna say I don't know where it's coming from. I really
think-
don't.
I think it might be coming from Johnny because I just muted John. And I don't hear the echo anymore.
What?
Yeah, I think that might be it. I don't know.
He's trying to just sit there being quiet.
He's not doing anything. He's just sitting there causing an echo.
John, I don't blame you.
Sound like we're underwater sometimes, Liz said.
Pat, I don't know if I can answer that question though that you presented. At what age would I stop?
For me, it was 30.
No, Pat. I mean, we just played. Remember? Okay.
No, start subbing for people though. I didn't sub. I haven't subbed for people for a long time. Like if I was in a league, whatever, but I wouldn't sub for people.
Well, depends on the sport, dude.
Yeah,
Golf,
no.
any day.
Any day. Amen.
Yeah. I think I played my last softball game. What was it? It would have been 6 years ago. That was my last softball game.
Yeah, it's been longer than that for me.
I love softball.
Yeah, that was it. That was the season that I biffed it big time. I biffed big time hard.
Is there video of that of you falling? Is there video of that?
Thank God, no. There's pictures of my knee. My knee was unbelievable. But yeah. I'll have to talk to Heidi about that someday. That's where she ran into the fence that season
Yeah.
and hit the fence.
Sounds like a train wreck of a
We
season.
both quit that year. If we get out of this season alive, we're done. But it was fun. It says, turn down your speakers, John. Somebody says that. Are your speakers on, John?
We just have regular speakers.
Poor Johnny just sitting there like, I'm not doing anything, guys.
I'll just try to mute him again and see how
I don't know. Is it
it's him. Yeah, because he's muted now again, and
crazy?
it is super crazy. There you go. All right, well, you're back in there, Johnny. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
John just exits the conversation.
Oh my God, John, we got to talk about your pictures behind you too.
John has left the chat.
I know. John did you see all his artwork behind him?
Yeah, looks great.
What the heck?
I thought that was Jesus on the.
I think
right
it's
side.
Jesus on the right. Is that
I
Jesus
don't know.
on the right?
Can you hear me? My mic working? Am I echoing? Am I
No,
being
you're
annoying?
good. Am I being annoying? No, you're fine. We were
Well,
talking.
that had nothing
No,
to do with
I
the
was
echo, John.
drawing a few nights ago, and I'm just because like I've been playing, so I drew them upside down. So I was doing the drawings upside down, and then I would turn them to see what they looked like when I was done.
You want to be a street hustler, don't you?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what they ended up being. I love this one though. This was the first one.
Oh, that's
Because
Chad then, isn't it? Is that Chad?
It's a drag queen.
Oh, and not that one, the other one. I was saying Jesus is chatty.
Yeah, there's the drag queen.
The drag queen got it.
This one I was like kind of, I don't know if it was Jesus or if it was just
It could
kind
be
of a
Chad.
like kind of a homeless person.
Man.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I thought.
okay. That's okay. That's
But
very
it's
good.
Either way, it's good.
And tell us about that one on the left.
Looks like a tree's coming out of her head or his head.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks good. It looks great. Yeah.
That's crazy you did that upside down.
Yeah.
That's
What
awesome.
inspired you to do it upside down?
I've just been playing with just like different things, and Chad and I were just in here, and I started drawing, and I said, I just want to like just draw and just do it without like being able to like see what I'm actually, because you're doing it upside down. I thought, let me just see what actually comes out. We were listening to
I thought you were physically upside down, like your blood. How long did it take you to
like a bat.
Are you
Like-
kidding me?
I swear to God, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, wait, I'm trying to justify this in my head. It's like, how? Why?
I was
What?
all in
He was
black.
doing
with
a
wings.
headstand.
Hanging like
I
an
was doing
opossum.
some serious
Oh.
cosplay.
I tell you, it almost blinded me when that light bulb went off over your head, Pat.
Right. Ding.
I thought he figured out what the echo was.
Remember when Patrick
Chad's over there
Swayze?
holding the rope so I don't crash and
Yeah.
land on my head. I'm like, I'm almost done.
What's your Patrick Swayze reference? Now you got to explain that.
Well, like in Ghost, when he would jump into the bodies and the human body would like lunge forward. That's
That's
how I
what you
felt
look
when I got the idea. Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
Baby, what did you do with your hair?
Yeah.
God, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Anyway, so I always think of, wasn't there an artist that did something like at a hockey game, and she did the soldiers that were raising the flag, and she would do it upside down, and then they'd spin it back
It was
around.
unbelievable.
I did that one upside
Wow.
down.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
It's a Pokemon. Jonachu.
It's a Pokemon.
He'll draw anything.
Right,
He's
whatever.
just a Pokemon. Yay.
Andrew, and then you were sitting in the spot where something happened to you earlier. In
Oh,
the
same spot.
He's on his deck. He's on
Same
his- he's on
spot.
our house.
Okay.
Here, how do I make my screen not look blurry?
There's
Oh,
Nice.
background. Your backgrounds should be you.
Yeah.
You have to go down to the bottom where it says settings,
Yep.
and then there should be under that.
Oh,
you'll
I see virtual background. Okay.
you go.
All right, I'm back.
There you go.
Yay!
I was wondering what was going on there. Not very tech savvy for my age, but so I'm sitting in this spot. What day was this? Pat, when did I tell you the
I
story?
think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday? Excuse me. So I'm sitting in this spot and I'm drafting up an email, and it was an email that I was, making sure that all my grammar was, and I do this in every email, but I was overloading it because it was going to somebody of high importance. And I was checking my spelling and grammar, and I was like reading every line 15 times. And then all of a sudden, when you are like really honed into a project and you're just working, all of a sudden I hear, and I'm like, started to like freak out in my head, but I didn't move yet. And a bird smacked me in the shoulder. And I'm sitting right here next to my glass door and like in the corner of my patio. And a little bird, I think it was like a finch or something, came over, and I'm sitting in the crime scene right now. It hit me in the shoulder, and then it just smacked the pavement. And of course, I'm freaking out because it hit me like 4 or 5 times, not realizing that it ran into a person. Because
it's probably a baby, right?
I would
There are a lot of
assume.
babies that are flying. I just saw one the other day at Petco. It was literally sitting in the middle of the street right in front of Petco. And I walked over, his little robin, and I walked over to it, and it's just like sitting there, and it's looked up at me like, oh God, she's going to touch me. It takes off flying. Like,
But meanwhile, this bird
Yeah.
touched me. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Normally,
And
it's
then
the
it
other way
sees your-
around.
it was probably seeing your window and thinking that was an open way to go through because the reflection looks like there's blue sky on the other side.
Yeah. Well, so I ran toward the main street here, and Ashley heard me scream like a little girl from inside, and came to the door. And I'm like, "Don't open it! The bird's right out there. If it gets in the apartment, I'm gonna freak out." And then my dog Molly was out here with me, and I am so. You would have thought that I got like attacked by a rabid dog, but it was just a little bird about the size of a baseball. And I'm like, Molly, go scare it. Go
Oh
scare
my
it away. And Molly's running around like she can't figure out what I'm talking about. And I'm like, I'll do it myself.
Oh my God. I hate that when that happens when the birdies they hit the window because you'll hear it every once in a while.
The
Like-
unmistakable thump, and it just one hit the window by where I was sitting a couple weeks ago. It was that Sunday morning. It's just so loud and jarring, and that you just know exactly what it is as soon as you hear it.
I'd
I
rather
know.
be scared from it hitting the window than me.
Yeah, you're.
I felt like I was in a scary movie, and I watch too many scary movies. So it's like, you know, when I got hit by the bird, I'm like, I'm cursed.
That's
Something's
it.
coming after me.
There is something about, I think if you, I can't remember what I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's bad luck if a bird hits your car windshield. And I can't remember or hits, and there is something about a bird hitting you or your car, something, and I can't remember what it was because I remember a friend of mine years ago, she got in a bad car accident. Right prior to it, her car got hit by a bird. It was just like it happened, and it scared her to death that it happened, and that thought went through her mind, and then she got hit, and it was just like,
man.
oh God, that's scary. So be careful out there, bud. Because that birdie, see, you got to watch out for the birdies at the golf course.
I'm trying now to think if anything bad happened to me after that. Because I think
Right?
the bad luck was actually getting hit by the bird.
It might be. You might have just rolled it all up into one. That's all right. Oh my
Or
God.
at least Ashley thinks
Yeah.
I stepped like 3 spots lower on the man status from my scream to the sidewalk.
That's okay, man. Own it.
That's awesome.
That's your truth. It's your truth. It's fine.
Oh my God. So
Oh,
what time are you
goodness.
going to have to be out to Pinnacle today?
I am actually going out around 1 o'clock, but I get to go out as a spectator today. So we did a bunch of work yesterday to overload content for today, and then we'll go back out Saturday and Sunday. We'll be out there for close to 12 hours, both of those days. And that's,
Yeah.
you know, the nature of the beast sometimes.
I was going to say Saturday and Sunday, they have later start times. I think the early one was yesterday. It started
do.
at 6 or 6:30.
They
and
do,
then
but
today was
there's a lot of
4:30.
like social media content we can grab. So there's
Yeah.
a putting challenge with I believe some kids that are
Lots
is
of
on
kids
Saturday.
tomorrow.
Dan
Family
Beaver,
Day.
yeah, Dan Beaver's coming out Saturday as well. So we're hoping to produce some content with him. And then you're right, yeah. The podcast will be in the morning, but then it's going to be building content for Sunday and then tracking storylines because it's ever so changing with guys on the bubble right now where they're going to place depending on how they shoot that day.
For people that don't know, this is the end, like the last event for
It
guys
is.
who are trying to get their card, and
It
they
is,
have the
in the
card
regular
ceremony
season.
on Sunday, right?
Yeah, so in the regular season, it was crazy. So I had to take like a Corn Ferry 101 class myself over the past 2 weeks just to be able to figure out how the farm system of golf actually works. So the 25 cards that are out there are for those that lead the regular season point totals. And then 26 through 75 in the Corn Ferry Tour lock up a spot in the Corn Ferry Tour finals, which takes place over the next 3 weeks. And then they also get paired up with 126 to 200 of the guys that lost their card on the PGA Tour. So then all of those guys then meet up, play in the Corn Ferry finals, and then 25 more cards are given to the guys that score the highest there.
So the ceremony on Sunday, what time is that? Like at 3 or something?
I'm sorry, say that again.
There's a ceremony on Sunday that's like at 3.
Is it
or
3?
I can't remember
would
what it was. I was just talking to Hannah, one of our girls, and
ceremony.
was trying to figure out that because she said it's pretty cool.
When they hand out the cards?
Mhm.
Oh, is it at that early? I thought it was
That's-
later.
I don't know. I mean, granted, we were all just talking over White Claws. So I don't know.
3 sounded like 9.
I'm not trying to put anything in cement here. I'm just making conversation.
Now, it is cool though. So there is a guy getting his PGA card. His name's Ben Griffin. and his story is fantastic. So last week he actually played on the PGA Tour because he got a sponsorship exemption to play in the Wyndham Championship.
Wow.
So he goes to play that and scores like, I think he tied for 4th in that tournament. He made like $385,000 playing that. That's over $100,000 more than he's made on the Korn Ferry Tour. So in one weekend, he made $100,000 more than he would normally make just in totality. But the cool part about this kid is, I shouldn't say kid, this man. The cool part about this man is he gave up on golf a year ago and he became a mortgage loan officer. And then he got back into golf because he was playing in a charity tournament, the Price Cutter Charity Championship. And he got his, I guess, spot in the qualifier because members of the club that he was playing at paid for him to play in the qualifier. He then made the qualifier, shot like 3 under, missed the cut, which is okay because he had a phenomenal first 2 days, and then got an endorsement deal with CapTech, and the rest is kind of history. He's back all in on golf. So after a year of retiring from the game because he wasn't feeling, that he was playing to the best of his ability, he's now back and he's going to get his tour card.
See, that's probably the best thing that could have happened to him because he got it out of his head.
Right. Yeah. You just kind of we were talking to Jay Moore on the show yesterday, and he said, it's because he didn't carry as much pressure anymore because he went out to play golf because he loved to play golf. And then for his love of the game, it got him back into playing competitively.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Very cool.
And you talk
when
about
he gets his card, does he get to stay forever, or is it like just for 1 year?
No, so you get a year. So you get a year status. And now you got to perform, and you have the chance to lose it if you place in the PGA Tour, in the FedEx Cup rankings at 126 to 200. If you fall into that, then you lose your card, but you could still get it on the Korn Ferry Finals. But if you obviously don't place above in the 125,
then you start back over.
Yep.
Dang.
Wow.
People can kind of bounce back and forth if they're kind of at that level.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's awesome.
What show you're talking? You said your show. What show are you talking about? That
Inside the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Anybody can listen to that on their favorite podcast sites. I prefer the podcast app on the iPhone, but you can listen to it on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where we are. And we have some really good guests coming up too. Saturday, Megan Whitaker from Nebraska Women's Golf is joining us, and she wins almost every tournament known to man. And so she's a great perspective to grab, especially from somebody that's played the course. We'll also have Kevin Price on, who is the farm system guru for the Korn Ferry Tour. So he knows everything and anything. You could ask him a question and he's like, I got your answer. I know what you're talking about. So I'm going to ask him what type of grass they're using at the club at Indian Creek. We're going to see if he knows.
Go deep, man. Go deep.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, we have Josh Peters from Omaha Men's Golf. So we have some good guests lined up, and we're excited to see where that takes us.
Sweet.
Very cool.
We'll link to it in our description here too. That
Please.
and all the Herd at Sports, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Because we'll follow them and follow Andrew and Anna. Well, thanks, buddy, for joining us.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you guys.
You
Enjoy
got
the
it.
rest of the show.
Take it
All
easy
right.
with the birds, okay?
We'll see you
I'm going back
later.
inside.
Yeah.
This is the danger zone.
Put your deck helmet on. and go-
Nature's not his thing.
I
Okay.
should have
Not
worn
that
a
close.
baseball helmet for the show.
That would have been hilarious. All right, buddy. We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye. Oh my God. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm
Oh,
hanging in
God.
there.
Okay, everything's right. Now I got to ask you, is your microphone on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Does it sound like he's on his microphone? Sounds like he's on. I don't know.
I think
we
it's
just have to do our tech check during the show
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We heard you before the first time. It sounded different, but it's not. You sound fine. Then there's no
Okay,
echo.
that's
fine.
It's
We
a
can
net
hear ya.
positive. Yeah.
So,
Is this
all
good
right.
or is
Well, that's muted.
So that's perfect. Yeah, you're muted now, buddy.
this good here?
There you
Yeah.
Is that one better?
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
Me and this microphone, my gosh.
We want to make sure we get the full effect.
I know I echo and then I like do other things. I've got my little
You got other
spinning
things going on.
microphone.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. A lot of stuff going on. We've and wanted to talk to you anyway about this because we had a couple of big stories that hit this last week in the entertainment world.
Yes.
I just wanted to get your 2 cents, but one of them being Anne Hesh having that car accident that happened last weekend, and she's still in extremely critical condition. Just to
And-
go back, I think Pat had brought it to the table that it was announced that she had slipped into a coma. We were wondering if she was put under, to put in one because of the burns or what happened. But I think she still is in a coma. I think
So last night, because I've been kind of following it. So yeah, I think she was put into a medically induced coma, but because of her being in the car for so long and the pulmonary damage that happened to her lungs.
Because of the smoke inhalation.
Right. So they did scans and they announced last night she's not expected to survive. That she suffered a anoxic brain injury, and they're looking to see if her organs are viable for donation.
Oh my God!
It's not cocaine in her system. Is that correct, or some other drugs?
Cocaine. Yeah, it was cocaine and fentanyl found in her system.
Oh my God! Now the fentanyl. See, now I have to ask this because of what we've seen happen. I don't know if you saw. Hold on, I gotta grab this real quick. But fentanyl itself, it shows up. If anybody that. And you throw this out there.
Cut into
if
everything.
Anybody uses any casual, whatever recreational drugs, you don't know what's in it. And I have to say, nobody, I would think, I can't imagine taking fentanyl intentionally unless your doctor is prescribing it. And it would have to be something that was an accidental overdose, or it was given to her. Wow. There was a graphic that came out talking about synthetic opioid deaths, which include the fentanyl being included. And this absolutely shook me. I want you to listen to this real quick here.
Yeah.
From 2019 to 2020. So they haven't even included this year. In New York, they saw an increase of 60% more deaths, 83% more deaths in Arizona. And in Nebraska, 171% increase in deaths from those drugs.
It's true.
And Nebraska is, I think, leading the nation or close to it with those. And so that was because of the amount that travels through here.
Right.
But that's scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it makes you wonder, like, if she had coke in her system and was drinking, was fentanyl found because it was cut in the coke, or was
that's what I would think.
That's where I thought. I just thought because all of that, they're just cutting everything with that stuff, which is like so counterintuitive.
They're killing their customers.
Well, if somebody wants to do coke, they don't want fentanyl. It's the exact opposite effect on the body. So
why are
they just a cheap, additive or whatever they call it,
filler or something?
Yeah, it's just cheap. It's synthetic.
Why would you do it though? Because you literally are killing your client base.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Yeah. And I think probably because the addictive nature to it, it's like a double addiction, because if it's cut in there, you're probably becoming, the high is probably different. It's I read the same thing about those numbers in Nebraska, and it's because of fentanyl being cut in.
Or the pills that are made to look exactly like you
Uh-huh.
think you're taking this and it's actually this, and you just don't know. And so,
then, of course, it's not scientific, so it's not like it's pharmaceutical grade,
But it looks like it is.
Yeah,
Everything they look like, I took these from my mom's cabinet, or it's like that kind of. It's like, man, you can't trust anybody because they may not know what they have. It's not that the people you're getting it from. That's the thing is, they're like, well, if you get it from somebody you can trust, it's like, no, they don't know. They may not intentionally be doing it. They probably aren't.
And I think about that stuff all the time with kids getting at the age where they are and getting into college, and being how stupid we all were back in college, and after that it's like, you guys it's a different day, it's a different time, do not try anything. And I know our parents all said that, don't do drugs, don't this, but like nowadays it's like, it's legit, one pop and you could be done,
can kill you.
Scary.
Just like that. Wow. I had not heard that, John. I hadn't heard that part about that she was not.
I read it before I went to sleep, and it was the first thing I looked at this morning, because the whole thing is just so tragic, and social media can be such a bummer because it's so reactionary anymore. And so right when the first stuff started coming out, it was like all these like fire bombs of just stuff, being thrown, and very accusatory, and this, that, and the other. And, because obviously her being a celebrity and Ellen's ex, was all this focus. And then,
what's funny is I didn't see anything about Ellen for the longest time until Ellen came out and made her statement. I didn't see any mention of Ellen. I saw mention of her ex-husband. What's his name? Tupper?
James Tupper.
Yeah,
James Tupper.
Which then that sent me down the rabbit hole of looking at him, because I'm like, from Men and Trees, because I remember when he was in that show, And then I'm like, what has he been doing lately? I'm like, oh my God, he's like in everything I've been watching, for Pete's sake. He's been in a lot of shows. But he came out right away.
Yeah.
And
then she had a son with Coley LaFoon. What's that?
Oh, she had the son before she was with James?
Yeah, so she had a son with Coley LaFoon, and Coley was like in, I think, in the crew, like film crew type stuff. And then they had that son is 20, and then the other son with James Tupper is 13. So you're just seeing all this stuff on social media, and I'm just like, yo, like, put your phone down. Like, this is, somebody to be in that condition to end up doing what horrible. I mean, like, raised tons of money for the house and the woman that lost her home and lost everything that's there. But addiction is just a nasty, nasty, awful disease, and when you're a celebrity and you're like, everything is just so accelerated and exaggerated anyway. And, and when they pulled her out, it was just so sad. And I was really worried she would not survive when I saw the accident, just knowing her being trapped and what happens to the lungs when you breathe in that superheated air. It's like those horses at that stable, why so many of them died that survived. Their lungs were destroyed. The physical bodies made it out of there, but their lungs were destroyed.
Let me ask this. So I wasn't aware that she had an addiction problem. I wasn't aware there was a drug history. So I think a lot of the reactions that you were seeing, because there was so much talk about, and honestly, it was very conciliatory. It was very, no, it was the word I'm looking for. People were genuinely concerned about her, and they were then people started getting pissed off because they're like, dude, do you realize that the girl that rented that house lost everything.
Right.
And she's a renter, and she will get money to get some shit back, but for the that's not going to get her personal stuff back.
Sure,
I think I looked this morning, and she's at $140,000 is what they've raised so far for her, and that's people doing like $5 at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean,
which is fantastic, because at first you didn't realize, because you're thinking, oh, the house got hit. Well, they have insurance. It's like, but still, she was in the room when it happened. But I don't know. I think a lot of people were pissed because they knew she was intoxicated, but I hadn't seen anything about her having a drug history, but they were like, oh, she just did a podcast and they were drinking on the podcast and she was popping vodkas and she was refined vodka, and this and that. And I'm sure Refined is ecstatic.
Oh, I'm sure they're super happy about that publicity.
Oh my God. And so, everybody was trying to, everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to be first with what happened. I get it. But then the other sad story was Olivia Newton-John passing away at 73. And I guess, we all knew that she'd had fought breast cancer for 30 years. She's been off and on.
Yeah.
Has been in remission, has come back. But she's just too young. I saw a really cool quote that was in here, as a matter of fact, that came from, let me find it real quick, Rod Stewart to her. And he just said, my great friend Olivia Newton-John has passed away, the perfect lady, gorgeous with great poise and a certain Aussie sophistication. Her spandex trousers in Greece were my inspiration for my do you think I'm sexy era. Signed, Sir Rod.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. But what did you have some stuff on Olivia too?
Yeah. So, it was just, one, the breast cancer thing, because of my sister's 3-year anniversary is coming up here in just a couple weeks. And so anytime any breast cancer, anything comes up, it's always just kind of like, just a little stab, in the heart. And I knew Olivia had been fighting that for, forever, and remission, go away. And, I don't know the exact kind of breast cancer that she had that was so indolent and would last, for so long. But Grease and Olivia Newton-John and that whole piece is probably more than any other pop culture, moment was like foundational for me. So when I was 13, Grease had come out, and it was one of the first movies I had went to just as a teenager. Got to go to the mall and go to the movies and do all that. But the album Grease was the very first album I ever bought with my own money, and so I would just play it in my room. And so I learned to do the hand jive. And so, I love to dance. And so, I would be in there just doing my little thing and there, the whole thing. And all the songs. And then later, just over time, when karaoke, the only thing I would ever do karaoke with was, Summer Nights or, songs from Grease is the only ones that I really kind of knew all the words to. And then when I would do like campy, fun stuff, it was Hopelessly Devoted to You. And then later there was a great dance remix that we would dance to in the 90s. And so kind of my go-to fun, like lip sync when we're drinking or whatever it is throw on Hopelessly Devoted to You and like do the whole big numbers and all of that. I mean, years and years and years. I mean, even just literally within like the last month. Well, when I was 13, I had that album. And so I brought it to this school dance that was like right at the end of the year. And it's kind of a sad story, but anyway, I'll just tell it anyway. So I brought my album and I asked the DJ if they would play it. And he said, yeah, would you play that, and will you play the hand jive? So he did. So, and I don't, I was just whatever precocious 13-year-old. So I just started like just doing a little dance by myself. And so then this other classmate who was, it was in 8th grade. So there was busing that was going on. So she was a 13-year-old black girl that had been bussed out. So her and I were like then riffing off each other. And pretty soon the whole school dance was just circled around us.
Okay. So I'm envisioning the dance competition in Greece because you two are dancing and everybody's standing there watching them dance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they were clapping and like, we're just doing it. It was fantastic. I'm all sweaty and all this stuff. So I go under the bleachers to get a drink of water. And like these white boys, about 5 white boys come and circle me and they beat me up because I was dancing with the black girl.
Wow.
And they beat me up under the bleachers and I was able to get out the side door and I ran all the way home and I never saw my album again because I literally had to flee the gym because of these like bullies.
Oh my gosh.
Is this at your school?
So that like moment of my life is just like frozen in time. Yeah. And so and Olivia died, it was, I was really just sad because, I just think now like where we're at with a lot of that stuff and all these years later and how some things just have still not changed. But I really understood what hate was because, I mean, it was very scary. I mean, I was like thrown up against a wall and these guys were bigger than me and they used some really strong language to describe the person I was dancing with. And dropping the N-word and all of that.
They're obviously ignorant. And so, you know what I mean? I mean, sadly at that age, that carries way more weight than it should because I hope that they live with that memory too. And I hope they're probably ashamed.
Sadly, they probably have done it many times where they possibly don't remember that specific one.
Or possibly they do remember what assholes they were. And I'm sorry to cuss like that, but I seriously, I'm just like, maybe they do remember that. And maybe they have made changes and I hope they have.
And you would hope, because we were all like 13.
It's awful.
Oh, it was just awful, awful, awful. But it's so crazy because that like literally was like such a huge moment in my life at 13. And on top of it, I mean, I had awareness that I was a gay kid. And just so I had this like high moment of dancing and just being free and putting myself out there. And then, the entire class was kind of clapping and we're dancing. And then that other side. And that was probably like my first, realization of like, wow, this is what like life is. Like, this is like, it's the highs, the highs and the lows and, everything in between. That's too bad though,
because I have to think that if your classmates knew that, they would have stopped it. I have to think that if the rest of I'm sure that a lot of kids were like, where'd John go? I mean, I'm sure that she was wondering, where'd that guy go? I'm sure there was a lot of people that did, but you didn't get to see that side of it because you were on the other.
No, because literally, I mean, I'm just drinking the water and I turn around. That would have
changed your memory, that impression and that imprint from that night.
But it never like stopped me from just still, loving Grease and celebrating it. Literally my entire life. I can't tell you how many times I have seen that movie and have listened to those songs all the way. So when she passed, one is I knew she was sick. I just didn't know it was impending. And it was just, just really, really sad because 73 to me is, young. Very young. And she just sounded like just such a lovely woman.
They said, I think that the young girl that played Oh, she was the one that had she was like the childlike voice in the movie. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
French,
Played
not Frenchie.
Frenchie. Yeah.
Is it Frenchie?
Dee Conn.
Dee. She had been spending time with her, and she said that that when she had last when she first got back in touch with her, that she had been in hospice care. She was unable to walk at that point, but she had her family around her, and they were taking great care of her, and she was in good spirits. And so she had talked to her several times, and I'm going to give you a couple of happy notes for you to think about. Just a couple of things. We kind of touched on a couple of these, but I've got some other ones just to add to this, because I too, huge fan of Olivia Newton-John, but she was not the first choice for the role. And the first choice for the role included Susan Day and Carrie Fisher. It also included Marie Osmond, who was number one, but Marie didn't want to do it because she didn't want to be a bad girl and have a cigarette in her mouth. And so that's why she turned it
She
down.
regrets that.
I wonder. And then also that Frankie Avalon, they had first hoped that Elvis Presley would take that role for Teen Angel. And one more for you. Mentioned Hopelessly Devoted. That song was written after they finished the movie.
Really?
And yep, they wrote it after it, and it was the only Grease song that was nominated for the Oscar in '79, Best Original Song, and it lost to Donna Summer, Last Dance.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking
of Donna Summer, if Kelly Rowland does not play Donna Summer, I am just like, I have put side-by-side photos for the last, I can't tell you how many years of like, when is this going to happen? This is like her daughter. They look so much alike in certain styles. I mean, you have a hard time figuring out like actually who is who. And I'm just waiting for that.
Happen.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. My fear is like, she could do the songs, and like, what happens if Kelly Rowland can't act? You know what I mean? So I'm like, no, like I never thought of that possibility. Like she looks like her, she could do the music, and then I'm like, she's like, I'm Donna Summer. I'm going to sing a song now.
Like the Ricky Bobby, the hands moving up, like get in front of the camera.
They'll need to stand in for it, right? Oh my God.
And then they're like, the casting director's like, oh my God, no, she can't act. Can we CGI her? Can we deep fake her?
That's when you need to just do an entire musical. There are no spoken words.
That's it. Hey, Madonna pulled it off with Evita. Like, come on. She can't act her way out of a wet paper bag.
Exactly. They figured that out real fast, didn't they?
So just have her just sing and kind of lip sync and just do a bunch of music videos and smash them together and make it a movie.
I'd be good with that.
Yeah, I would for sure.
Awesome. Oh my God, Johnny. Well, I hope everything is good out on the farm. You and Chatty doing well.
Yeah, we got those bottle babies that we have we got a mama that did not make it a few days after she delivered. That happens
sometimes.
It does. It's the only one we had like that. That's the only mama we lost this year out of all the babies. And so, and it just like within 24 hours, she was gone, and we don't know exactly what happened. And so I'm just really kind of bummed today.
She's got twins. So she
does. And they're adorable. And they're healthy. I haven't decided yet. So far, I've like last night for some reason I looked at them and I was like Betty and Lou. Like, that for some reason that name popped out like Betty Lou, but it would be Betty and Lou.
Betty and Lou.
But I feel like Lou might have a smoking habit and have a fondness of bourbon later in life. So
who doesn't?
Oh my God. All right, dudes. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, for coming in here too. Johnny, you guys are awesome. And
the
links for everything will be in the description of our podcast, and you can find us. It's Pat and Judy pretty much everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, and that echoes back again. It's so funny. I don't know. I'm just going to mute him as we go. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you guys for listening and watching. You can say anything you want when you're muted. Thanks, Johnny.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Huda Media Production.